Sorry, I realized that I spelled censor wrong, and it's not even that censor. I'm just completely brainless tonight, so sorry. Had to restart it. Brainless tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Church on the Rock. Now, this is actually my home church. So let's thank Church on the Rock for allowing us to have the meeting here tonight. We have lots of chairs, as you can see, stacked up on the side. For those of you that are standing, feel free to grab a chair. And PCOs need to be in front of the ropes. There, if you're not a PCO, please stay back behind the ropes. Thank you. Well, my name is Joel Matala, and I am the chairman of the Clark County Republican Party. Thank you. I also want to thank my team. When they asked me to run for chair, I said if I do it, I'm going to need to have a great team. And I do have a team, and we couldn't do this without this incredible team that we have. So thank you to my team and all that you guys have done. I want to give a special quick thanks to our state committee man, Dick Rylander. Where are you? He's supposed to be here. There he is, back there waving. Still working. Dick Rylander was here, the first one here today, and he set up all these chairs for you guys. So thank you. He's supposed to be sitting up here, but he's still working. There he's come scrambling. So thank you, Dick. And most of all, thank you to all the PCOs for being here and for being involved and caring about our nation and our county party and being involved. So thank you very much. So to get started tonight, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand, and I've asked David Galatly to open us with prayer.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the privilege of living in this great country, and we know that you called us to first love God and love people, and we ask that we operate in that manner and show the world what it is to have your love and to show them your love through us. Tonight we ask for your wisdom as we handle the business of the party and we make difficult decisions that will guide the direction of our party and our county. We ask that we have your wisdom to make the right decision and that we work together in unity towards the direction that leads our county. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. I've asked another David, Mr. David Sisko, to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's remove our hats, put our hands over our hearts, say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
That's right.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to introduce our newly elected board from the reorganizational meeting here in January. First of all, my vice chair, Ms. Kathy McDonald. And we had him waved before, but our state committee man, Dick Rylander. We have our state committee woman who was reelected, Jen Duvall. Secretary Kelly Fiscom. Treasurer Greg Cheney, and I think is Greg here or is he joining us online? He's joining us online. So we have 14th LD chair is not Piper McEwen, but Glenn Kincaid.
I don't know where that is.
17th LD chair Ora Reddington. Is she here? Okay. 18th LD Chair Jana Myers. 20th LD Chair Greg Boynton. And the 49th LD Chair Brian Gallatley. And finally, an executive member David Gallatley. So we have one surprise guest here tonight. He's a Gold Star husband, a military veteran, and he's running for Congress. Where are you, Mr. Joe Kent? We've invited Joe to speak for a couple of minutes here to introduce himself.
Good evening, and thanks so much for letting me come out to your meeting tonight. So my name is Joe Kent. I served in the military for a little bit over 20 years in the intelligence community. Shortly thereafter, I'm from Portland, Oregon originally. Grew up hiking and swimming in the Lewis River thanks to Boy Scouts. Right as soon as I could, I joined the U.S. Army. Serving our country is pretty much all I ever wanted to do. In particular, after 9/11, I wanted to serve in combat and go after the enemies of our country. That continued up until the day my wife was killed in 2019. She was fighting in Syria against ISIS for our country. At a pretty pivotal time, President Trump had just tried to pull our troops out of Syria. But that's when we really saw the claws come out and the establishment turn against him. So I knew at that point I needed to start speaking out for the ground truth that I had seen, and the was being double-crossed at every step. Ever since then, I kind of thought I was just going to assist the Trump campaign and the Trump team with foreign policy issues. And that was up until the events of November 2020, when we saw the election be taken from us in very questionable ways. We need to fully adjudicate what happened in November of 2020 before we can move on.
That's right.
So when I saw Representative Beutler do what she did, I knew that I had to throw my name in the hat and volunteer to go forward and fight again. In a perfect world, politics would be a gentleman's sport, but the other side doesn't play it that way. They're fighting, and they're fighting hard, and they're fighting like hell, and they're unified. So I want to throw my name in the hat to fight back against the far left, the people that are just to the north of us in Olympia and just to the south of us in Portland, and push back, because it's really the only thing they understand. But I also want to be unified. So I know there's other folks here that want to get behind other candidates. So take your time, get to know me, ask questions. But when push comes to shove and it's time to get rid of Jamie and then beat the Democrats and hold this district, I'm all in for whoever we choose, whether it's me or not. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you,
And your
Joe,
wife's
and thank you
service.
for stepping up to bat and stepping out to serve our nation again. Okay, next thing. I first heard her speak at a mayor's prayer breakfast a few years ago. She speaks at women's conferences and other conferences all over our land. She's a nationally recognized speaker and author. She was a guest on Focus on the Family yesterday, and she changed her travel plans to be with us tonight. She has 41 followers on Instagram and 41,000 followers on Instagram, and 333,000 Facebook likes. She's a champion for parental rights. She's running for Congress. And she really does not need any other introduction. Let's put our hands together for Mrs. Heidi St. John.
Hey! How you guys doing? Awesome. I am as scared as heck. I'm going to tell you that right now. Everybody's like, how many PCO meetings you been to? None. This is my first. I appreciate the warm welcome tonight. I have learned a few things in the last couple of days. If you need to kick a Facebook addiction, run for Congress. They're already printing things about me that are just patently false. So I decided not to check Facebook for a while, and I feel better already. Do you guys feel better? Yeah. I decided let's stop watching the mainstream media. That's going to happen right away, right? I want to introduce you guys to myself. My husband Jay and I have been living in the Pacific Northwest for all of our married life. We've been married for 32 years. We have 7 children, I know, and 3 grandchildren. And yes, and I love this country. I was introduced to politics by my grandfather. He took me campaigning for Ronald Reagan. And I'm a Reagan conservative through and through, and he taught me that our country is worth fighting for, it is worth speaking up for, and conservatives in this nation have taken a backseat to the Democrats for too long. And I'm here tonight to say it is time for us to get off the bench and onto the battlefield. Many people have asked me why I'm interested in running, and to be perfectly honest with you, there were a lot of reasons for me not to run. Most people know that when you throw your hat in the ring in politics, politics is divisive. And we go immediately from disagreement to demonizing in this nation. And it needs to stop. The truth of the matter is we are a nation at war with ourselves. And what I'm learning right now, as I begin to move into the political sphere a little bit more, is that we've got to change the conversation, and it has to start right here in Clark County. It has to start tonight. And so as I've been thinking about how to present myself, I'm getting all kinds of emails. Say this and say that. And I'm getting all kinds of emails talking about what I should say and what I shouldn't say. And I got a different kind of email too. Those emails said, hey, I want to be sure that you don't hang out with this guy, because if you do, you won't get our vote. Want to be sure that you're not seen with so-and-so, because if you do, you're going to anger people in the Clark County Republican Party. And if you do that, you're going to lose. I got more of those emails than I cared to count. And as someone who's relatively new to politics, you guys, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, I am so excited to be doing what I'm doing. We have got to do better than that. I've been spending a lot of time praying about what the Lord would have me say tonight. And I wanted to let you know that my decision to run for Congress was not made lightly. My husband and I prayed about it. We got our kids together. All 7 of our kids are adult kids, and we called my friend Liz Pike, and I said, I want you to tell my kids everything that there is to know about running. And she scared the living daylights out of them. And I was like, this is great. Now I won't have to run. And my kids were like, you know what, Mom, you were born for this. And we're going to support you every step of the way. My husband and I have been starting businesses here. We run the Firmly Planted Homeschool Resource Center. We have been opening businesses for about 20 years now, and I know a thing or two about what it means to raise a family, what it means to keep a promise, what it means to shelter children, and what it means to be an advocate for families. And there is no one in Washington, D.C. advocating for children right now. No one. The reason that our schools are in the situation that they're in is because we have people in Washington, D.C. and here locally who do not understand the devastating damage that is happening to our children in the name of the woke Democrats and the progressive left in this nation. And someone needs to stand up and say, that's enough, no farther. I'm appalled to see that congressmen and senators go to Washington, D.C. for what I have always believed. My grandfather told me that when we go to the United States House of Representatives, it's a relay race. It's a relay race. So we go for maybe 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms, and we're always looking behind us. Who are we going to pass the baton on to? But what's happening is we're going and we're staying there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and the people that are there right now are so out of touch with what's happening here in the 3rd Congressional that they don't even know what we're struggling with anymore.
Amen to that.
And I want to change it. I want to go to Washington, D.C., not because I don't have anything better to do, but because this is a war, and we need to step up to the plate. Wars require sacrifice. I had a wonderful conversation with my friend Joe Kent, And we talked about this country. He loves this nation as much as I do. And he agrees with me. Republicans have got to come together and be unified. And if we can't do that, listen to me, if we can't do that, we will lose in November. And we won't just lose the seat that Jamie Herrera is currently occupying right now. We will lose more than that. This is a battle for the soul of America. And it's going to require people standing up and telling the truth and being willing to get out there and take fire. And I was telling my friend the other day, I was talking to a whole bunch of women last Thursday night, and I said, one of the things that terrifies me the most about getting out in front of this thing and throwing my hat in the ring, when I've got grandchildren here and children that I love to be with, my husband and I live up by Battleground Lake State Park. There's no place we'd rather be than the Pacific Northwest. And so the reason we would go to Washington, D.C., and the reason we would serve this country is because our country is on the brink of collapse. Our country is suffering from a disease, and that disease is socialism. Marxism is at the door of the United States, and we need to stand up and say no more. And it's not just enough to say no more. We got to start turning it back. Back to the principles that the founders started this country on. They labored in prayer over our Constitution. They labored in prayer so that we could have freedom. And we're watching the Democrats take our freedoms from us one piece of legislation at a time. I was amazed to find out, I'm leaving tomorrow for Virginia because I had a previous engagement there. And I was amazed to find out that when a few people called from Washington, D.C. to see if I could set up some meetings, Nancy Pelosi has basically issued a proxy vote telling the legislators not to come to Capitol Hill. The legislators, the people that are supposed to represent you, are not even meeting and debating in the open anymore. They're doing it on Zoom. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of Zoom. I'm sick of Zoom. Are you guys sick of Zoom? For me, running for Congress is a wartime appointment. And I'm not going to stay for 10 years. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be going and I'm going to be saying, Lord, help me be a voice, help me move the needle. I am so sick and tired of people going to Washington, D.C. and absolutely doing nothing. We had the House, we had the Senate, and we had the White House, and we did nothing. We did nothing. Why are we doing nothing? You see, the Democrats and the Republicans are different. Yes, they are. You guys are my people, I can tell. When the Democrats get power, they do something with it. When the Democrats get power, they do something with it, and what they do is to take away your freedoms. They want to take away your right to bear arms, for goodness sake. They want to take our education system even farther into the abyss than it already is. And it's making me sad to watch what happens when Republicans get into office and we lack the moral fortitude and the courage to say, we've got an idea and we're actually going to push it forward. It was astonishing to me to watch Republicans run for the hills when President Trump tried to get something done. And I was watching, I'm like, we sent you there to represent us. The most amazing thing about this country is that we have a representative form of government. That means that anyone can run. That means that even Heidi St. John, a woman who's been raising children for 30 years, can run for office in this country. The Democrats want government health care. I remember when Obamacare was instituted. How many of you guys remember Obamacare? Remember when they said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor? Guess what the first thing was that happened to the St. John family? We lost our doctor. I'm tired of being lied to. We all know that government health care is not the answer. And the private sector in this nation needs to stand up, and I want to be a voice so that your voice can go to Washington, D.C. and be heard on the floor of the House of Representatives. It's interesting to me to note, as I'm watching what's happening in our nation, that families have found that they have lost their voice. I went for several months to Olympia, and I began to talk about what's happening in our schools. If you guys aren't familiar with comprehensive sex education, you need to be. It'll break your heart. I went to Olympia at 3 o'clock in the morning and stood out in front of the state capitol in freezing weather with 200 of my very best friends so that we could have a voice in Olympia for the children. They don't have a voice unless you give them one. I brought that voice back to the Battleground School Board and was appalled to find out that even though I met with these people in private, when push came to shove, they threw the children under the bus and pushed an agenda forward that will do nothing but harm our children for generations to come. Our kids need to have a voice. I am a strong proponent of education and reform in education and parents having control over what happens to their own children. If you don't like what's happening in your schools, take your kids out. And the money should go with your kid. The money should go with your kid. As a mother of 7, I can tell you right now, my oldest daughter, Savannah, is almost 30 years old. And we are often watching what's happening in the schools with a fair degree of dismay and frustration because the children in this country have lost their voice, and I intend to go to Washington, D.C. and give it back to them. There you go. I only have one more thing to say. I was thinking about what I want to leave you guys with, and that's this. It's very simple. Come on. I could stand up here all night long and tell you about my platform. Everybody's asking me. Seattle Times is asking me, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? We all know they don't care because they're going to run a lie anyway, right? I want to remind you guys tonight that a house that's divided against itself cannot stand. We need to work together. We need to say, okay, we might disagree about this over you guys. My husband was a pastor for 20 years. I can tell you all kinds of things about working in a church. Lord, save me from your followers. Y'all are a little like a church. Like we got denominations over here, and we got a denomination over here, and we don't like each other over here, and you guys believe in baptism for the remission of sins. You guys, oh no, we're sprinkling. And so now we don't talk to each other anymore. That's got to stop. It's got to stop. We need to come together. I think we can agree that our nation is worth fighting for. Can we agree? Yes. I think we can agree that socialism is something we never want to see implemented in this nation. Can we agree? Yes. I think we want to agree that the Second Amendment is worth defending. Can we agree? Right. Right. If we can agree on those things, if we can agree that we love our children, if we can agree that life is worth protecting from the unborn to the most vulnerable among us, this country discards the very young and the very old. And it is a scourge on our nation. Can we agree that life is precious? Can we agree? So guess what we learned tonight, you guys? We agree. We agree. We need to work together. I've been so encouraged. I've been hearing from these guys all week. They're writing me and calling me and trying to encourage me and talk me down off of a limb, which they're doing repeatedly now. But if you guys are interested in helping me out, I'm going to need your help. And in the back of the room, you're going to find my girl Tiffany, and she's got a clipboard, and they've got envelopes. I'm going to need help. I have been working in the nonprofit sector. There's Tiffany back there, you guys. Look at her. She's so beautiful. Love that Tiffany girl. She's got a clipboard. If you're interested in helping us put up signs, you're interested in fundraising, you're interested in getting on board with what we're doing, or at least staying in touch with me, or praying for me, golly, I'd sure appreciate it. If you guys are interested in doing that or donating to the campaign, please go back and see Tiffany when this is over. You guys, I love this country, and I think it's worth fighting for. Do we agree? Yes. Thank you very much.
Out to us and asked to come address us this evening, and since she was our last Lincoln Day dinner speaker and she spoke free of charge, of course I said yes. We would have invited the other candidates, but we heard that they were tied up with the Cowlitz County. I was elected at the last state committee meeting to represent the Region 3, which is the 3rd Congressional District, on the WSRP board, executive board. And we're planning some options to work together for the entire 3rd District. We want to evaluate candidates' fundraising abilities, which is a requirement to win a race. We're going to evaluate all their qualifications. And we actually plan on having a candidate forum, perhaps next month at our monthly meeting here, where we're going to invite all the candidates. We'll invite the whole 3rd District. And following that, I think that would be an appropriate time to entertain a motion for an endorsement, perhaps, or something. So we'll do that. Okay. Well, the state of the Clark County Republican Party is strong. I'm optimistic about the future of our party and the future of America. We are building a more robust Clark County Republican Party, with more involvement from precinct committee officers than ever before. We currently have a record number of PCOs, and we had a record number of PCOs participate in the last reorg meeting.
That's good.
Many of our PCOs are brand new and have never been involved in politics before. We're bringing new blood into the party, and that's bringing life and fueling growth never seen previously. I look forward with a positive outlook for the next 2 years and beyond. With the victories that we will achieve by working together over the next 2 years, we will advance Republican values and causes like never before. The Clark County Republican Party will be the bright shining city on a hill that President Reagan always spoke so eloquently about. The best is yet to come. And with that, I call the first quarterly meeting of the Clark County Republican Central Committee of 2021 to order. We're going to take a minute here and pass the hat. We have a hat or a basket. Steve Mosier, PCO Steve Mosier, came to me a while back, and he said, "Joel, I just really have a passion to keep the office open." And I said, "Steve, I agree with you. I have a passion to keep the office open as well." And Steve put his money, and I think it's important for the Clark County Republican Party to have a resource center.
Oh, hell, I can put this away.
Well, he called me last week or something, and he said, "Joel," he said, "I'm going to have to renege on my pledge. I'm only going to do $25 a month because I want to sow into Heidi St. John's campaign, and I want to put the other $25 to her campaign." I said, "Steve, you're forgiven on your pledge. You go ahead and do that because we love Heidi." So I have a $300 check he paid up front for the year. And so I want to challenge us tonight to put money in the hat, and it's going to go toward paying for this facility, and anything extra is going to go toward keeping our resource center open. So be generous as the hat gets passed. And we have envelopes on every chair. There's envelopes as well. You can use your credit cards on the envelopes.
Can we go?
Yeah, pass the hat.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this time we are going to do roll call, and I'd like to introduce our secretary, our vice chair, Kathy McDonald.
So because we are online and in person, it gave us a new challenge. And so instead of doing roll call this time, we have been up here working feverishly. And first of all, I want to thank
I didn't
Kelly.
bring any
She's done an
passion,
amazing job at dealing with, I dreamt the other night that I even left all the papers at home. But I did not at least do that. And Kamal for up here feverishly making sure everybody's checked in. Yeah, come on. So whereas the credentialed attending percentage of Clark County Republican Central Committee is 45%, a quorum has been ascertained, certified by myself, and signed by my hand. Therefore, the roll call list will be attached to the minutes with each attending precinct committee officer named and denoted as appearing either in person or via remote attendance.
I can always run out to the truck.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
You're not going to call. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Excuse me.
How do we know that the remote attendees are here? I mean, what is our evidence that we have these people remote?
Would you like to come up and take a look at our...
Everybody should have received an individual password that only they received by their authorized email they provided. Nobody else would have seen that one, so they could only log in with their individual one.
Can we display the known logins on the place so we here can see that they're here?
No, I don't think that's
No,
possible.
no, we don't have a way to do that. What we've set up is the same as what the WSRP has done at all their meetings. It's from the state party, and they're actually assisting us with their program.
Well, everyone should be
So it's the
called
same
out
thing
that
with
isn't
most
here.
from the state party.
Okay.
Everyone who didn't show up
quorum is
remotely.
ascertained, and without objection, we adopt the meeting rules. Okay, now, we are to the place where we need to approve the meeting minutes from the organizational meeting. Are you putting those up on the screen? You should have gotten a copy of them in the call to meeting. Without objection, are they approved? They're approved. Okay, now we're to the place where we have unfinished business from the organizational meeting. And we need to have an advisory vote on the PCOs on one issue. Before we hear the resolution to pass the bylaws, I've been told that we need to hear from the body on one issue first, whether or not we can or cannot endorse in a contested primary. Previously, the answer was always no. Some recommended that we change this, and others did not like the change. Those who worked on the bylaws were evenly split. So we ask you, the body, to decide, and we will put your will in the final version before presenting. So we'll have 10 minutes of discussion and then take a vote. A yes vote means that we will allow contested primary endorsement, and a no vote means we will not allow the primary endorsement. Ms. Jen Duval.
Yes.
Ms. Jen Duval, our state committee woman, will hold the microphone, and at this time, the chair will recognize PCO Brian Galantley.
Hey, thank you. Actually, the decision is between allowing PCO endorsements of a Republican over another Republican in a contested race with a two-thirds of majority versus not allowing it at all, which it used to be. So, anybody have a question? It's either we not allow it, we remove it from the bylaws. With a two-thirds majority, we can endorse, or we leave it like it used to be, and we cannot endorse one Republican over another in a contested race. So, you going to vote, or? Allow 10 minutes of discussion. Oh, 10 minutes of discussion.
Point of information, which bylaws? The bylaws that were submitted to the PCOs as a whole, dated January 2nd? No. Or the bylaws that came out 3 days ago? 3 days. Without time for review or proposed amendment? The proposed bylaws.
The proposed bylaws, to answer the question.
That's ambiguous. The ones dated January 2nd or
excuse
the
me.
ones February 20th?
On this question, we'll have the yays line up over here and the nays over here. They were sent out on the 20th.
Point of order.
So if yays can line up over here and nays can line up over here.
Point of order.
10 minutes of discussion?
Yeah.
We're going to vote by lining up and then have the discussion, or we're going to have the discussion before you figure out?
Yeah, please.
All right, so the bylaws were sent out as a cannot, or changed from the cannot endorse to the can endorse. Those were sent out on the 20th. Those are the ones that are being, before we present those bylaws, that's the question that we're answering here. So before we vote on that, we're going to have 10 minutes of discussion where people can voice opinions on whether or not to endorse in a primary. If you're yay, you're on this side. If you're nay, you're on that side. And then, if you want to voice an opinion,
you don't get to talk.
that's where it's at.
Point of order. The Article 16 of the previous bylaws stated that amendments that were proposed to the bylaws had to be submitted 10 days before the meeting, and then they had to be sent to all the PCOs 7 days before the meeting for consideration. The bylaws that came out on the 20th do not meet that requirement, and that's a point of order.
So these are adoption bylaws.
This is not an amendment to bylaws. This is an adoption of bylaws. So we'll have the yays over here and the nays over there. We're going to move forward with discussion on the question.
Point of clarification. This is not being run like any PCO meeting I've ever been to. I'm PCO 592, Wendy Rush. Currently, it is my understanding we're operating under the current bylaws, which would state in Amendment 16 that we are, as PCO, since we are the governing body, we should get an opportunity to look at the proposed bylaws as compared to the current bylaws and be able to offer up amendments or proposals to the chair 10 days prior to the meeting. Those get mailed out by you to the PCOs to be able to consider, so that PCOs, especially since half the PCOs here are probably new to the party, I think this is show of good faith to be able to explain how this process works, so we're just not jumping into a vote completely out of order of the current bylaws.
Again, this is advisory vote taking place right now, and this is not an amendment to existing bylaws. We're proposing new bylaws.
Our current bylaws, though, are existing right now. We have not voted in any new bylaws. Our current bylaws are operating in effect. Amendment 16 is the exact same in the current bylaws and the same in the ones that you sent out as a proposal. That stands 10 days prior to bylaw adoption. PCOs look at those bylaws. 7 days we have to look them over and review. Otherwise, how do we know? I received mine at 8:30 on a Sunday night, which is not a day I do work on. So I was given a Monday and today in order to look at proposals that I noted 151 line items.
Okay, we're going to move forward with the question. So the yays will line up over here and the nays over here.
No. Come on.
Is there a second?
Second! You can't do that.
I make a motion to table this bylaw.
So I feel the vote of the chair that the baseline for the bylaw should be the ones that were distributed dated January 2nd by the previous group.
No.
Typically, when we have had an organizational meeting, the outgoing board has submitted bylaws for consideration as a baseline, then the PCOs would then propose amendments. The amendments would be considered individually based on their merit. What we were given 3 days ago was like a complete package, and we received an email that said, vote for the whole thing, read it, pass it before you read it.
Nobody said that.
So we can take a vote whether or not you guys want to move forward. So the thing is, legally you don't have bylaws till the new membership adopts bylaws. So there is no legal bylaws. So you guys can vote. So what we typically do as an organization is we recognize the old bylaws just so we have something in place until we adopt new bylaws.
Exactly.
So that's
Continuation clause.
okay.
So
And
recognize the
it's
old
up to
law.
you guys whether or not
It's
you want to move
simple.
forward with this. So I would recommend to the chair that we take a vote whether or not to move forward with adopting bylaws tonight.
So do we have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion that we consider the bylaws dated January 2nd.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, let's have this meeting come to order.
Bylaws are voted on before you're elected.
The chair will recognize people to speak.
I tried.
We need to have order in this meeting, and the chair will recognize.
I would like to make
Do we have a motion to
I would
move?
like to make a motion to not vote on these tonight and to table this tonight
Yep.
to give us more opportunity to review these new bylaws that have been proposed and vote on them on the next meeting.
Amen.
So, if you can state your name and your precinct.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Jan Bowers, Precinct 240.
Jan Bowers, 240, and Dixie McFadden, Precinct
434.
434. So the motion on the floor is, Jan, to table until next meeting.
I'd like to discuss this.
Point of clarification, PCO 592, Wendy Rush. I would like to make an addendum to that motion to say that it has to follow the current bylaws amendment, which is in your proposed bylaws, and the current bylaws that states there needs to be the proper order. 10 days, we receive the bylaws. We have 10 days in order to, as PCOs said in our proposals or amendments, and then 7 days prior to that meeting, we are able to review and then come before a meeting.
The next quarterly meeting is going to be like 90 days, so I think the requirement's going to be fulfilled.
Yeah, it's not, at this point it is not fulfilled. It is out of order at this point.
But the bylaws have been presented now?
Bylaws have not been presented.
Bylaws have not
Required
been
7 days.
presented.
But now that they've been presented, you'll have way over 10 days.
Right now we have had 3 days, less than 3 days.
Right, but if we table it until the next meeting, it'll be 93 days or something.
Yes, then we can look and follow the proper procedures, yes.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded. Any other discussion?
Yeah. Your LD would like to speak. Okay. Got Glenn Kincaid, your LD 14, PCO 940, longest sitting board member in your party. I helped pay off 50% of your fines and get yourself solid. These bylaw amendments are to eliminate my vote. Okay, they're trying to stop me from having a vote on this in this party. Well, I'm elected. 8 years I've been elected. I've said yes, it is true. And George, I'm sure knows the RCWs is trying to do it. We need to table this and have time for all this to be discussed. They don't like the truth. They call it
Okay, that was a nay, so we're going to have yay, or that was a yay for tabling. So we're going to have nays over here. Are there any nays?
Okay, so in January we got an email. My name is Carolyn Crane, PCO 337. We got an email from a former board chair who had never been a PCO, and through the course of his term frequently violated bylaws. So I think any argument that says that anything he sent us should be valid kind of blows me away. But that's just a personal opinion. What I'm here to tell you is he changed all the bylaws. None of them were the same. None of them were the same. They were what he wanted. He wasn't even going to continue on with us. So I don't want to consider bylaws from January 2nd. We're the power. We have the power. A bunch of us wrote those original bylaws, and a bunch of us have made these amendments based on what we witnessed in the last 6 years as PCOs. So I encourage you to consider not stalling any longer and moving forward. Where are we supposed to have this discussion? Yeah. This is the where. That's what we're here for. Let's get it done.
Go get him.
Sean Emerson, 525. It doesn't matter where the original bylaws came from. At the moment, they're the bylaws we have until we vote in any amendments, if we vote in any amendments. The current bylaws that are being proposed, I don't know how many of you have read them, how many of you've read them in detail. One of the proposals is that if your district doesn't have a majority of the PCOs for that district in Clark County, then your district chair doesn't have a vote on the executive committee. That's aimed right at this man right here, Glenn Kincaid, who's one of the staunchest patriots, one of the biggest, hardest working people in this party, and they're trying to silence his vote on the executive committee because he causes trouble for all of these establishment rhinos.
Yeah!
Right.
Thank you!
Let's have order in this meeting. So we have yays over here and nays over here. Okay, we're going to let him, and then we're going to call the question.
West Fincham, precinct 950. So I have two questions. The first one is when we say endorsement, endorsing a candidate. We know that the vote for a 3rd congressional district congressperson is a vote of the people. So when we say endorsement, what is the effect being sought over endorsing one candidate over another? Can you define that?
Division.
Does that question make sense? I mean, like, to endorse, where are we going with that endorsement? Is it? And the other thing too is, as far as
the motion on the floor is to table the bylaws or not to table the bylaws.
But that's what's.
We can discuss that later. That'll be another topic.
The second question is I know that the next meeting is 90 days, but is there anything in the bylaws about a special meeting or an emergency meeting that can happen before 90 days for the vote?
We don't need it. There's no fire burning here.
If there's a purpose for it, it would be possible. Okay, so I think that we've had enough discussion. I think we can call for the question. And so those in favor, you're working on the motion for the online participants to table the bylaws until the next quarterly meeting. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Are you in favor of tabling the bylaws till the next quarterly meeting?
The vote of the bylaws.
Vote of the bylaws. I think we can probably do a voice vote. So all those in favor of tabling the bylaws until the next quarterly, till the vote on the bylaws till the next quarterly meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, only PCOs can vote. If you're a PCO, you need to be in front of the ropes. If you're not a PCO, please be behind the ropes, and only PCOs can vote. Those opposed, please say nay. Nay. I think we're going to have to do a show of hands. I think we're going to have. We got people online. It was close enough, and we have 40-some people online. I think we need to do a show of hands. So those in favor of tabling the bylaws until the next quarterly, a vote on the bylaws till the next quarterly meeting, please raise your hand. And will the Sergeant at Arms please count?
Do you have a Sergeant at Arms?
Yeah. Tiny, if you can come forward and you can count.
Woo, Tiny!
Yeah.
And how many are in the meeting? Okay, we're going to give it for those watching online, we're giving it a few more seconds and then we're going to close it. Okay, now, please put your hands down. Those opposed to tabling the bylaws till the next quarterly meeting, please raise your hand. And would the Sergeant at Arms please count? Thank you, sir. So the motion does carry. The bylaws vote is tabled until the next quarterly meeting. Okay. With that, we have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, George Chapter 602, I make a motion that we start with the baseline of the existing bylaws from the previous term in its whole, and that amendments be considered and that we know who wrote the amendments, and we consider them and vote on them. I think that the amendments need to be limited to certain things. So for example, if there's a change in terms of the LD director and the removal, I think that should be a separate amendment than, say, the change for discipline for a code of conduct. Does that make sense?
Well, that will be certainly addressed when we address the bylaws, right?
Well, the question is are we going to have like a prefab, complete package of this is the bylaws that the executive board wants everybody to rubber stamp? Or are we as PCOs going to work on it and put the things in the bylaws
Well,
that we want to see in there?
They've been sent out. They have been sent out. So we're going to move on here.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a motion. Sean Emerson, 525.
Yeah, we're gonna stick to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, a motion has been made and seconded.
Excuse me.
It must be considered by the floor.
We will number the amendments to the original bylaws when they go out for the next meeting. Okay, moving on. We have the chair recognizes Carolyn Crane and Alan Rogers for the proposal of a resolution.
Okay, I'm Carolyn Crane, Precinct Committee Officer of 337. And for the record, I'm about to read a resolution that I had the wonderful help of Kelly Fiscom, our secretary, in getting written and distributed. Brian White was going to be here to assist in this process, and he could not make it. So I've asked Alan Rogers, and he read them and agreed that this was an important issue, so he has agreed to assist me in reading this resolution. It was important to me since I was the first unpaid, never been paid, Clark County volunteer for Jamie Herrera Beutler in 2010, and I've stood by her all these years. I'm going to bring this to the floor tonight, and I'm going to ask you in voting for this resolution. The resolution from Clark County Republican Central Committee, censure of Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler, passed by the Clark County Republican Central Committee at their first quarterly business meeting on Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021.
Whereas articles of impeachment against President Donald J. Trump were filed and voted on by members of the U.S. House of Representatives, no formal hearings held, no quantifiable evidence presented, no witnesses sworn to give testimony, and no right to cross-examine the accusers provided. And
whereas Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler did vote in favor of the impeachment of President Donald J. Trump, despite the lack of any formal hearing being held, evidence being presented, witnesses being sworn to testify, or accusers being questioned, and
whereas Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler cast her vote without any quantifiable evidence of high crimes or misdemeanors, and
whereas Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler was elected by a majority of Washington's 3rd Congressional District voters to represent the will, the values, and the stated preferences of the majority of said voters, and
whereas Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court is obligated by Article 1, Section 3, Clause 6 of the U.S. Constitution to preside over impeachment trials, and Chief Justice John Roberts declined to preside over the impeachment trial in the U.S. Senate, indicating an unwillingness of the Supreme Court to lend legitimacy to this impeachment proceeding, and
whereas Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler has violated the trust of her voters, failed to faithfully represent the majority of the 3rd Congressional District voters, and neglected her duty to represent the Republican Party and the will of the people who elected her to represent them. And Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler's actions have resulted in numerous Republicans in Clark County, the 3rd Congressional District, Washington State, and the United States of America, indicating they will either no longer actively participate in the Republican Party or are stepping down from precinct committee officer positions within the Republican Party, or have canceled their donations to the Republican Party and withdrawn their support, rendering themselves independent voters for as long as Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler holds office.
Therefore, be it resolved, the Clark County Republican Central Committee does hereby censure Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler of the 3rd Congressional District of Washington State for her actions on Wednesday, January 13th, 2021, for voting in favor of a process that eliminated investigation and public hearings, provided no evidence to consider, called no witnesses to be sworn, and allowed none of the accusers to be questioned by the accused, and
be it further resolved, the Clark County Republican Central Committee will withhold any future political funding and support of all resources for the Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler unless the Clark County Republican Central Committee finds reason to the contrary based upon an in-person explanation from Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler, and
be it further resolved, the Clark County Republican Central Committee calls on Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Beutler to appear before this body at its next quarterly business meeting of Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, to explain her actions to this body, the Washington State Republican Party membership, and the entirety of the concerned 3rd Congressional District electorate, and
be it further resolved, the Clark County Republican Central Committee will work together, whole and unified, in conjunction with the other 6 counties in the 3rd Congressional District, Lewis County, Pacific County, Wahkiakum County, Cowlitz County, Skamania County, Clickitat County, and Southern Thurston County, to vet and select a single conservative Republican candidate to run for the 3rd Congressional seat in the 2022 congressional race. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, the chair appreciates the unity shown. So now it's time for some discussion. We're going to have yays on this side, nays on this side, and hold on, Carolyn, it was proposed, this resolution was proposed by whom?
Me.
So Carolyn Crane, PCO number
337.
337, and it was seconded by,
Everybody.
can we say Alan Rogers? Precinct number 636. So you, as the proposer, get to speak first.
So one thing that I want to say, she violated my trust. And it broke my heart. And I will not be dragged off this street without a congressperson who will make sure that this deplorable, non-domestic terrorist has somebody in her corner. And the other thing I will say to you is that in this resolution, we will be giving her more opportunity to address her accusers than she gave our president.
In the interest of fairness, do we have any nays?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I sit on one side.
Okay, well, the chair recognizes PCO Sean Emerson from precinct
525.
525.
Okay. Okay, where's the camera? Okay, Sean Emerson, 525.
Yeah.
6 years ago, I could trace back, I was here, a member of this body, I could trace back to an issue that came before the body 6 years ago that severely divided the Clark County Republican Party. That division remains today. I am speaking in favor of this resolution. I think it was very well worded. Carolyn Crane, thank you very much. To that effect, Carolyn, 6 years ago, we tried to tell you that this woman was a snake in the grass. And, well, we saw what she was doing, and we knew this was coming. And the one thing that I would like to stand up here today, Carolyn, will you please come up here and stand with me? Carolyn, I think the party was divided in that vote for censure in 2014. I think that division remains today. I would like to ask you, would you please apologize for yours? Let me finish.
Let's discuss the resolution.
I have the floor.
Let's discuss the resolution. Excuse me. No, excuse me. Excuse me. We're going to discuss the resolution. Sergeant at Arms, please. We're going to discuss the resolution. Excuse me. We're discussing the resolution here. We're not talking about 6 years ago. No. No, excuse me. No. No, your time is up, sir.
That's ridiculous.
We're discussing the resolution, and this does not pertain to the resolution. We're not going to have personal attacks. We're not going to have personal attacks. Please. Please, excuse me. Excuse me, sir. We're discussing the resolution. Okay. Each member will be given 1 minute to speak per item, according to our rules. Are there anybody else that wants to speak? Any nays? I think we can call for the question here. All those in.
No, we have discussion.
We've already called for the question. We're going to just call the question and.
Did Jamie send an email out for response today?
Yeah. Everybody got it.
Can anybody read it?
Yeah.
Can we have that read into the record, please?
I didn't get to read it. Can somebody read it out loud before we vote?
I'm not sure that it's going to be like relative to this vote, so I encourage everybody to read the email that Jamie sent if you'd like. But let's call for the question. All those in favor of approving this resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And do we have it online? It's loaded up? Okay. Those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
In the opinion of the chair, at least in this room, the ayes have it.
I get the vote, don't I?
And in fairness, we're going to wait until everybody votes online. For those listening online, we're going to leave it open for another 15 seconds, so please vote. Waiting for 9 people.
I thought you were criticizing.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Okay, let's close the online poll. 39
I
yeses
agree,
and
Linda.
6
I agree.
noes online. Okay, so at this time the motion carries. I skipped an agenda item, and so we're going to go back to the agenda, and we're going to have Steve Nahas. Please come forward. Is Steve here? So please come forward, Steve Nahas, and
Steve, before you do, can you go give David what he needs to throw it up here so that
We can just go up there online. Yeah.
As he walks up here,
so as Steve comes up, this is the treasurer's report, and you can check it out here. It'll be sent to everybody, and you have Greg's email address if you have any questions. Can you make it larger? Unfortunately, Greg can't join us in person, so he's online. There's his email address.
treasurer@clarkrepublicans.org. If anybody wants any additional information, but it was emailed there. It's treasurer@clarkrepublicans.org. You can see the additional.
The important thing is we have a positive balance.
Thank you, Mr. John Lee. We do have a positive balance.
What is our balance?
The available balance as of February 22nd, 2021 is $11,589.09. Okay, so we've been working on, we have a team that's been working on the new website, and it's been led by Steve Nahas. And so Steve's going to pull it up here and we'll put it on the screen and tell us about it. It's a good one.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Nahas, and been working with the team here for, I guess, about a month to revise the website that's out there now, make it more functional, more appealing, but also give the PCOs an opportunity to have a resource center, a place where you can log in, a place where documents can be exchanged, and messaging done as well. So I'm going to show you the website. It's not up and live just yet, but it will be. I think Kelly, is that next week, or when are we planning that? Okay. So there it is. Not very big screen, but. So it works on mobile, and the key point here is that we're trying to make it more open and accessible to people to kind of show the face of the Republican Party in Clark County and the things Joe Biden did. So I'll just quickly go through it for you really quick, and then we'll go from there. So there's the top heading on the left side is all about involvement, getting involved, citizen resources, how do I vote, how do I do these other things. I'll just go through those. So you see register to vote, ways to volunteer, tracking House bills, tracking Senate bills, commenting on bills. So there's some engagement here for the public. How do I register? How to register to vote? You'll find is in a lot of places. How do I find my district rep, find my precinct, find the bill, and then some resources. These are outside websites that keep you informed. Some of you probably know most of these already. There is a donate button, it goes right here. And then we've got a news section, events. Events will be a calendar for the public, but you'll have your own PCO calendar that'll be in here as well. And we used to have bylaws in here, but I think we took that out. I'm just kidding. So the issue, but they'll be there. This won't be on the public site. Okay. All right. You guys are a tough act to follow. Believe me. So there's core principles. There's a section on issues there as well. And so this, again, within a few days will be up and live, and you guys can go there at clarkrepublicans.org. There's about us, there's about the board, chairman's welcome. There's a search, because there'll be lots of information, lots of articles on here as well. Let me take you down the page really quick. I'm just going to show you mainly the front page here. Place to get involved. We're going to have a new, so behind this website there is a new back-end system called CRM, in this case constituent relationship management. So there's a whole series of automation behind the system as well. What you're seeing here is just the front end. The back end is where all the action happens. It's where all your documents are stored. It's where other communication takes place. When people sign up for the newsletter, people donate or go other places, we're going to keep it all in one central database and essentially get that database in line with the state's database and other external sources. So we'll have precinct, legislative district, issues that matter to particular people. So we'll be able to target messaging out to constituents and to PCOs, what's important to them in particular, trying to get this personalized in a way that we couldn't before. There's a couple, it's meant to be more engaging rather than a kind of sterile text-based website, obviously. So we have all the elected officials, places for people to see who they are at the state level all the way down, or federal level all the way down to precincts. So sorry, I had to page through that one quickly. Yeah.
This is a church, Katie.
And I'm a messenger. Okay, so there's that, and then go back to the homepage, just click on the logo in there and go straight back. And as you come down, we've got a feed into all upcoming legislation. So a lot of people don't bother to check all of the bills that are out there, but this is a quick, handy place by topic. So you got crime, you got energy, you got firearms. Forest land insurance, and so these are real-time feeds. So coming from the state legislature site, they'll be updated every day. So you can come there.
So will we be able to click on those links and be able to make comments?
Yeah, watch what happens. Well, so on these particular ones, this is informational. So if I click on one of these, right, it'll bring up that page on the Washington State Legislature website, and then from there you can learn about it.
That state website.
Yes.
Training class is coming up that I try to get people to that I learned the whole week. So when you comment right there, if it's already had its hearing, don't even record your comment. If you comment right there, it may or may not record your comment. So I wrote a bill, and Vicki Caldwell-Craft was good enough and kind enough to work with me to get it submitted, and it was an election bill to protect your election rights. And we went to a hearing, and there was going to be a whole bunch of people that weren't going to be able to make the hearing. Stack that thick of comments. I had them comment there and send me a copy of their comment. And they gladly, their comments been received. When we got to that hearing, I asked Vicki to ask them how many of them got the comments. They didn't even know there were comments. And then they turned around and said, let's go find out. And then we found out they didn't get any comments. So when you comment there, before the bill is brought, before it heads for the floor for a vote, there's a timeline for this. But keep a copy of it and email it directly to your legislators so that they can also work.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Steve.
All right, I'll just kind of finish up. So this is good. That's the point, is to make it more accessible, easily accessible, more. All right, so so that's basically it. And there's a login site, a login link at the top, and each of you will be getting a login for that. So there's a place also. I'll just quickly go through this. A place to shop some conservative vendors, veterans vendors that we endorse. There's some quotes, and then the latest news coming down. Yeah, we're affiliates, right? So like 10% up to 20% of some of the revenue comes to the party. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So it'll come up soon.
and you can see it, get engaged. Each of the PCOs will get an invitation to log into the website. You'll see your own PCO area. In that, there'll be a calendar, there'll be a window into the document repository. And for you to get in there and click on a folder and look at what you can look at or download what you can download, you need to have a Google account. So most of you either have Gmail or a Google account. And if you don't, what will happen is it'll say you don't have access, please request. You hit request, it's very simple, you get access. Sure.
Mr. Chairman, we've got a get involved button somebody can hit, and a volunteer button you can hit. I guarantee you, for every person elected in this room, I've got 10 neighbors waiting to do something. And we got so many requests in the past to do something, and we weren't organized enough to find the things to do. So pay a lot of attention to how the door closes mighty quick if somebody doesn't contact me.
Sounds like you just volunteered for something. Do you have a volunteer coordinator here?
I gotta go to that.
Hey, that's the perfect time. Let's take a vote right now.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for all your hard
No more
work.
questions? No more questions? Yeah. Show me another non-big tech company. Well, we did consider
It doesn't
that.
work like
We're
that,
not
buddy.
doing the Google, we're doing the business Google, so it's a little bit different, but yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about how volunteers will interface and how by leveraging their information they can get tailored alerts and speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is the volunteer sheet under Get Involved. Here, we don't just ask, do you want to volunteer? We ask, what are your interests? What's important to you? What skills do you have? Passions, hobbies, pastimes. So we'll collect all that and we'll use analytics to target messaging out for certain events and other ways they can volunteer. We make more personalized. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. The tailored kind of the email groups that, they say, hey, I want to do sign waves, putting up signs, right? So then that will be an indicator, become like a group, email group. So we can really tailor.
So everybody will have a role in the system, the back end, PCO, volunteer, donor, vote, everybody's a voter hopefully, and we'll use all these tags for everybody to do exactly what you said, target the messaging.
When we had a community outreach committee, I had 50-something people that were involved in that did doorbells. I had another 3 dozen or so, maybe 5 dozen, I think actually, that did letters to the editor. They kind of stretched out over multiple counties, but anyway. We had groups that did signs, we had groups that did fund banking. And if people came to us and said, how can I help? And they had a particular skill set or a particular interest, we drew them in that direction. If they had a particular fondness for a particular candidate, I would train them for what they were about to do and send them off in that direction. It was really a great opportunity for people at large, not just PCOs, to get involved and
Okay.
do stuff.
Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, thank you, Steve, for that. Appreciate that.
Thank you. That legislature.
Come up here. Dick, our state committee man, Dick Rylander, would like to address.
For those of you who don't have a real sense of the work and effort that Steve has put into this,
But I put
what the work he's doing and what he's put up with from us and getting this put together is exemplary. He has a company, and his company does this for a living, and this is how he makes his money. But the deal he gave us is unbelievable. And so, please learn more about Steve.
Okay, thank you, and thank you again, Steve. Let's all give Steve another big hand for that. moving on with the agenda here, David Galatney is going to give us, on the good of the order, he's going to give us some updates on good stuff coming up.
Hey, so I think some of you guys may have noticed that we are transitioning to a monthly
voted
meeting,
to impeach Trump.
and we are going to still hold the quarterly business meetings for the Clark County Republican Party, where at the beginning we are going to, every quarter we're going to handle the party's business. But every single month we're going to do these get-togethers, and judging by how full this room was, and we didn't advertise it, we're probably going to be out at 10 soon. So a lot of you guys have seen the events of groups of us have done where we did training events. Different people have put on different training events, and we've had national speakers at our fingertips that a lot of people don't know they have access to. In addition, we brought out trainers before that teach nationally on what it's like to get involved in grassroots. So we talked a lot tonight about the Third District campaign, right? That's a big seat. We lose the top down. We didn't lose the presidency from the top down. We started losing the grassroots a long time ago. We didn't think we needed, who cared about the board of a library till drag queens were reading to your kids? Yeah. Who cared about school boards till there was sex ed in kindergarten? Like, we lost this years ago on the ground. And we're gonna teach these people at Jimmy's been. How do I get involved? How can I make a difference? I'm sick of what's going on. We're gonna get involved in every single race that comes open on every board, every commission, and everything that we can possibly win. And we're gonna take it back from the Democrats, one seat at a time, across the grassroots. And then we're gonna take back presidency in 2024. So, that's guys, I know that business is important, but those relationships that we're gonna develop outside of just PCOs. Get to know your neighborhoods, bring them to meetings, get your neighbors excited. We're gonna make sure that those opportunities exist. For you guys, when you talk to people and they ask you, what can I do? The answer's kind of been like, vote. That's about what we can tell them. We're gonna actually do training every single month where you can get apps, you can get tools, you can learn how to talk to your neighbors, and you can learn everything, all the resources that we have. The website is gonna be a great tool for us. We're going to send people through the website. They can register, then we're going to take them and we're going to plug them in wherever they want to be plugged in. And we're going to start taking back this county, the state, and the White House in 2024. And I'm just asking all of you guys, there's a lot of passion in this room. Like, we can feel it. There's some tension, there's some passion, but we can win this back together. We can get past our disagreements, and we can win this back together. So I just ask you guys to stay involved. Please show up every month and bring friends. And give us recommendations of what you want. We have people calling today that are on school boards, and they want to talk and tell you guys what they're seeing. The teachers that are frustrated that nobody hears their point of view. We're gonna have those people come and talk to you about what it's like in a school and what they work in that environment. They know what needs done, and they're gonna ask for your help. And if you're not here, you're not gonna be able to help us take back our county. So. That's it. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I'll turn it back over to the chair.
So our secretary, Kelly Fiscum, is going to address future meetings.
Hello. Hi. Okay, so you should have all received an attachment with, I think there was like 4 or 5 pages to it for future meetings and events, and David just touched on some of that. But I do want to draw your attention to a couple of events that we've got coming up. So Tuesday, March 16th, we will have our second Writers Workshop. And this Writers Workshop is taught by author Dick Kuiper. And we had a really fun time with our first one. My vision is that we would have a group of writers who are honing their writing skills. You got one right here, you wanna come, all right. And so if we can bring these writers together and they're editing each other's writing and they're finding what they're passionate about and we're scheduling submissions together, we can, that body can mobilize across the news and social media platforms in an organized way. And then we've also got on Thursday, March 18th, Carolyn will be helping, she'll be teaching a legislative watch course, which will correspond to some of what you saw online here, but in more detail, which I got to see how she tracks everything, and I have to tell you, it's pretty phenomenal. One of the things that I'm going to be working with Steve, hopefully with another project, is that for those who I can see, I mean, like Bob right here, like there are certain people out here that I know what you're honed in on, and I would love to see a legislative watchdogs team where we have specific people. They are all over that committee. They know every bill going through it, and when people go to sign up because they want to find out, more about whatever, they can check off the boxes of what they're most passionate about, and then those watchdogs, they can send notifications to those people like right away. So for example, I can't remember what the bill it was. I was talking with Carolyn last week. It was scheduled for like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Well, it got bumped up until like 8 or 9 in the morning. So unless you know, they just cut off public comment, and that's not okay. But if we've got an organized group of people and those watchdogs are watching, then we can immediately get that information out and we can bring the voice of the people to our legislature. And that's what we need. And then we've also got the election integrity team, and John Anderson is heading that up, and our first election integrity team. Oh, here's John. Hi, John. And he is leading that. That will be March 4th. That's a Thursday. March 4th, that's a Thursday, and that will be at the Resource Center office. So we've got lots of opportunities. We're going to do community outreaches. I'm really excited about that. We've got a lot of really good ideas. So thank you guys for coming, and I look forward to seeing what we're all going to do. Oh, yes, and the Clark County Republican Women, they are hosting Heidi St. John on Saturday the 6th. And that is also on our website. So when you check out, when you go home, you're going to want to jump on the website. You're going to look at events. You're going to look at calendar, and you're going to see this big line right across it that says register now, register now, register now, because the last day to register is March 1st, and then they're going to cut it off because they're expecting to sell out. So if you want to go to dinner and you want to listen to Heidi, then you want to get signed up right away. And that again is Saturday, March 6th. And when you click on that, it will take you to a link where you can register right with Clark County Republican Women. And that's it.
Mr.
Point
Chairman.
of order. Point of order.
Mr.
He's
Chairman.
been hollering.
John Anderson, PC order 460, I move
This guy.
for adjournment.
No.
Wait, somebody else.
Is there a second?
There's somebody else on the board now.
Oh.
I was trying to make a motion earlier that PCO for District 558, there's no PCO there in that position, and I would like to make a motion to put Josh Van Gelder as the PCO in that.
So that would be out of order because it violates the RCW.
So then there was a motion to adjourn.
What RCW?
The RCW states that the chair, with consultation of the LD chair, appoints PCOs. So the motion would be out of order. So there was a motion
To adjourn. Thank you.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. And LD 49 people come right to the front, stay in the front. You're going to have your LD 49 meeting right here in the front. Turn your name badges in. And please help put the chairs, stack the chairs on the side.
Like it might help again tonight. I was on it before I came here. But I have a condition with my back.
Okay, so so this is a meeting basically to formally denounce Jamie Herrera Beutler. Not really successful. They've kind of pushed the date out basically, and I think she should have to answer for what she did sooner. But I mean, will they call an emergency meeting for that? Probably not. It'll probably get pushed out to the next congressional meeting here in Battleground. And hi, how are you? I'm good. Good to see you. Yeah. This. Oh, really? Yeah. Her Twitter is usually where she spews. She's very opinionated. So, but I'm glad you didn't get nothing.
By me. And what was your first name?
Jake.
Jake. It's Becky Conway.
So this is me. Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
you know James. Like text?
I don't think so. No.
He sent me a message and he's like, hey, I see you on feed my buddy.
Well, I'm trying to think. What's his platform name? You don't know? Okay, that I would probably know. I'm not real good with names.
Okay.
But chances are I probably know who he is.
He's just a good guy. He goes to Olympian, does all that. So, anyway, it was a good meeting.
Yeah, this was good. It's good. I wish, I wish she would have to answer for that sooner, but I mean, yeah, she should have to answer for it tonight. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. She knows the way.
That's right. No, that's right. You're right. Amen to that. Amen. Yep. Karma.
Coming down.
Karma. Yeah. You can't hide. You can't hide from your constituents. So.
All these people failing and all these CEOs and everything. It's happening.
Yeah. People are waking up.
We wish it was happening faster, but it is happening.
Well, she shouldn't have gotten voted in the first place when they.
I didn't know any of that about her.
You never know until they're a snake. You know?
Right?
Because she, she was profitable until now.
Yeah. Well, now she goes down.
That's the will of the people, right?
Well, it's nice to see you. I'll
Yeah.
see you again
Yep.
sometime, so.
Thank you.
Thank
I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. So yeah, like I was saying, they won't call an emergency meeting. For some reason, that's not important enough. A 30-minute meeting for her to address her people wouldn't take much, but we're not going to get that. Clearly, they want to push this off, put it underneath the belt of the next meeting, and they gave them 3 days to look at the new amendments that they were proposing. 3 days. And the one guy said they normally have 10 plus 7. They have 10 to send them out, 7 for them to read them. That's 17 days. They had 3 days to do it. What's that tell you? I mean, this is the problem we're having, guys. These politicians get to do whatever they want and not answer for it. It's just ridiculous. It's absurd. I can't believe we put up with it as, the people that vote these people in. It's just crazy. But, some people got fired up, and hopefully that's enough to wake some people up. And that's all I can say. We need more of these meetings. We need, there's a good turnout tonight. I mean, you can still see there's you can see there's still a good amount of people here. I agree, yeah. This shouldn't have been tabled. I didn't understand what that gentleman was saying at first, but he basically wanted to push it off. But, you know, the thing is the other option isn't any better. 3 days to look at amendments, you know, proposed amendments, 3 days? Like, what? We're going to change everything in 3 days when we normally have 17? Nah, that wasn't a better solution anyways, you know, so, my personal opinion of this is, Jamie should have to come in sooner than 3 months from now to answer for that, you know, her vote spoke volumes about her policy and her decision-making as a congressional leader, and, I just don't know how much longer people are going to put up with this, you know? We're being duped. You know, you voted her in, like they said, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, however long this rat's been in the swamp, you know? And just now it comes out that you guys found out that she's a rat. Shouldn't have voted her in the first place. We need people like Heidi running. She seems like she's got a level head. You know, I know that's speaking before she gets into office, but... You know, we need to hold these people accountable. That's the bottom line. And until we do, until these people are made to answer, we're going to keep getting the same results. So, yeah, at least these people are, you know, like-minded. A lot of people in here are fighting too. You know, like you can see a lot of people are standing up and fighting, you know, for our rights and for, you know, the betterment of society, which is cool. You know, I guess this is it. So I'm gonna head out to the front, kind of walk you guys out. Get out front here, maybe.
Goodbye to Joey.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
I'll be right back.
Thank you, bud. Yeah, it is good to see mass-free humans. That is true. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? What's everybody think? Is that a success? Look at what? Look at what, Mike? See if we can, out here in Battleground. Yeah, 93 days is crazy. I wonder if that's got to be COVID related, right, guys?
I don't understand it at all.
I mean, do they normally meet every 30 days, or is that a COVID thing? That's got to be a COVID thing.
Okay, I'm gonna Google that restaurant.
What's up? Good to see you.
Take him home and I'm gonna check in and see if I can even go do that.
Okay, let's find one close by here.
Okay.
Trying to find a place to eat.
Yeah, good luck. That sit down.
Restaurant right now?
Oh, that might be a good choice actually. I know Margarita Factory's open in Hazeldale.
I'm not, I don't drink. I don't, Canada's free.
Well, I mean, they still got good food. At least
Circle
you can
back
sit
to the
down.
next meeting.
He drops the tray.
I did not know when
What's
I
up,
volunteered to
dude?
do Sergeant Arm.
I'll
say for moon.
Everybody say hi to Mr. Bill.
What's going on?
What do you think, Mr. Bill?
You guys, do they recognize me or not?
I barely recognize you. I'll be honest. Yeah, normally you're covered up in a beanie or something or hat. What do you wear? A hat or beanie? Yeah.
Kanye for president, man.
So what do you think is a success? Successful meeting?
The vote was a success, but I did not like the fact.
We gotta wait 30, 90 days.
Wait till May in order for her to show up. I'm not sure if she's going to get money or not. I didn't understand that. Hey, Joey. Hey, Joey, is she still getting her money till May, or is she not getting the money from the
She
Republican
shouldn't.
Party?
Oh, I don't know. She shouldn't.
Yeah, I didn't understand how that was going down.
Say hi, Joey. Everybody sees you. They saw you at the.
Did you get Heidi's speech?
Oh yeah. It's good. She's good. I like her. I like her a lot.
I'm not voting for her.
Yeah.
I just want to make that very clear to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. She spoke with a big heart. That's awesome. Seriously. Well, and it was. Well, I mean.
Are you going for Jamie?
Perfect. Yeah, I am. I like Jamie. No, I'm just kidding. I actually like wrote in Bozo the Clown and then crossed it out. Like, check
Jesus.
Jamie,
Well, that's
'cause I
not
did
helping.
See, I knew that Jamie, I knew
Jeez.
before this even happened that Jamie, and I don't care if she voted to impeach, but
Yeah.
it was a total waste of time.
No, but we have to use it to our advantage.
Yeah, get
The
somebody.
vote to impeach him is just, it's just us.
I mean, you don't think it's
Well, at least
acceptable
it
that
won't
she
keep
voted
up,
to
and now we're
impeach
gonna
our
have some
president,
options
though,
next
right?
time, Because screw Jamie, I totally.
Okay, well, at least you feel like that. At least you're not.
No, I'm not gonna vote for Jamie.
Yeah. No, I knew that, but I didn't know if you were like simping or
No,
what.
I'm not voting
Some
for
people are like that. Some people are like, oh.
She just
yeah.
hates everybody.
I do. I hate everybody. No, I get the vibe from that Joe kid.
Yeah.
Joe's.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
But Heidi knows how to talk. So that's
the problem.
Yeah, she's
That's
swindling.
why I want him to come
She's
to
swindling.
the Toastmasters so he can learn how to talk. So he can be.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? You think it was a successful meeting? I mean, obviously it sucks we have to wait, but I mean, maybe she'll be held accountable at the next meeting 9 years from now.
That's a total crap show.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that was
like a total crap show, and I want to break that whole system.
That was Jerry Springer.
Yeah, I mean,
like what personal attack?
people are
No,
passionate
our country
though.
is the way it is,
Well,
though,
people are
because, like,
passionate.
That's what we have to deal with.
Well, they have a long history.
What's up? Yeah.
And so yeah, there was a lot of people in there. I mean, who,
We haven't processed yet what happened.
Yes.
Like I recognize
Everyone's
everybody
like,
from the back of the room. I cannot recognize anybody from the front of the room from your events and different things like that. You know.
Well, he was just recently elected.
Old guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
The leader. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think.
I think
Well, the thing is, Glenn Kincaid has been calling them all out on their bullshit, so they're trying to make
what we're
them not
going?
have a voice.
that's the guy in the front.
That's the guy that
old
3 and
engineer.
99, right? Glenn Kincaid came.
Yeah.
It's on the left hand, but yeah, she was close to you.
Oh right.
On
So
the
all
left
of
side
them,
in
they're trying
the
to
front.
silence
Yeah,
my
yeah,
voice.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh, when,
He's calling them out on all their bullshit.
yeah, they don't like it. Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first construction job.
But we have to order by 8:45, so we have to go.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Let's go.
Those jalapenos. Okay, that's around the block.
Los Jalapenos.
Oh my god.
That's what girls are supposed to
Yeah, I'll pass on the Los Jalapenos.
No, I'm not gonna go.
Clark County open at all?
Lindsay and Jen.
Yeah, but I actually don't have the kids.
Ha,
tonight.
Lindsay and Jen are meeting us there. Ha, ha, ha.
What?
Oh my god.
What'd you say?
Lindsay and
The
Jen.
girls are going, come on, Joey, get your butt, let's go.
Lindsay and Jeremy.
Clark
Jen.
County's closed.
Jennifer.
Yep,
Lindsay and
now
Jennifer are gonna
now
be
you
there?
gotta go. Look at him. Look, now he's like, okay, all right,
There
okay.
might be a
There's
flaw
levels.
there. There might
There's
be a
levels.
flaw in there.
No,
There's
I'm
levels
gonna
to
go
this. Ah, it's best. It's best. You'll be able to wake up at a decent hour tomorrow. You out of here?
Yeah.
All right, give me a hug, bro. Good to see you, man.
We're gonna drink double for Joey.
Joey, you out of here?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
gonna have a
I want a hug,
here
man.
coming up soon.
Good to see you, dude.
I gotta tell you, it felt good to get back out. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here and get out of here myself. Kind of want to see what a few people thought. Most of the people in there are LVs, and they're having their own meeting now. So, what are we doing after this? Someone asked. Jesus, you guys are demanding. It's always something, huh? 2 streams a day isn't enough for you, huh? Well, Jakey's going home, and I'm gonna call it a night. So I appreciate everybody today. We got a few donations, super chats. I saw Nicole gave us a $10 super chat. James gave us a $20 super chat. Those were the ones that I saw on YouTube. Obviously, I'm using my phone tonight because someone likes to break my cameras. So I'm not able to check DLive or any donations on Cash App or PayPal. So I will catch you on the next death stream. I promise you I'll call you out. And I'm cold. Give me a Jake's Micro Penis Adventures. Nice. Awesome. Such a loving, kind name. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Thank you. Anyone else that followed, shared, subbed, donated, I appreciate it. And I'm not sure what's going on tomorrow. Definitely have some restreams Thursday. Saturday and Sunday, we will definitely be live in the field. We have a few events going on this weekend, so make sure you're checking in if you aren't busy this weekend. As for tomorrow, I'm not sure. Like I said, Thursday, probably a restream, couple events for a restream. Friday, I'm not sure, but definitely Saturday and Sunday. Definitely Thursday, we will have events. So make sure you check in. Make sure you hit that bell, like, follow, and I love you guys. Thank you, mods. The mods that I do have in there right now. Thank you. Appreciate you doing your job. And I'll see you guys on the next one, all right?